Again, like I was saying, the homework that was due for today was all about sketch constraints. It was learning some of the tools that you can use to make sketches be exactly what you want them to be. It was, again, the assignment was straightforward, step by step. If you didn't finish it, still finish it up and turn it in, and I can at least give you the half credit. But it was fairly straightforward. Today's activity, 1.34, I'm actually going to help you guys a lot with this. One, I think a lot of you guys are just falling behind and not doing these assignments, so you're not learning the skills that you need. This class is fast-paced and it's very cumulative, right? We're learning how to use this software where there's all sorts of things you can do with it. We started with the very rudimentary basics. How do I draw a square? How do I make that a 3D shape? I extrude it. Then we started learning all these other skills. We learned about dimensioning. What we just learned about was sketch constraints. How do I make my sketch be what I want it to be? There's all sorts of tools. We're slowly building this skill set. Well, if you don't know the basics, there's no way you're going to know the more advanced techniques. So that's why it's important to even do homework that was late, because you still need to show and learn that you know those skills, because eventually we're going to have a project and you're going to be turned loose, like, here's your problem, you got to design this. Well, shoot, how do I do that? Well, you should be able to know how to do that because of everything we've learned. So that's why it's important to stay on top of things in this class, turn stuff in late, at least get half credit, and at least know the skill, so you're not even more behind when we do projects or more advanced stuff. What I'm doing today is I'm going to help walk you through the activity today, give you a lot more support than I usually do, because again, I think a lot of you are falling behind a bit, missing a lot of important skills because you're just not doing an assignment or not focusing on what you need to do. And I want to use this as a way to kind of catch you up and help you out a little bit with this activity. All right? So this activity is all in Onshape right now. So what I'm going to have all of you do, we're going to do this together, right? So if you go to Google Classroom, today we're on what we just did 1.3.2 yesterday. That was your homework, or not yesterday, last class. Today we're 1.3.4. My instructions are really straightforward. There's two parts to this activity. Steps 1 through 13 and then 15 through 27. Sounds like a lot, but those are step by step by step. Wyatt, I need you to get your computer out. You should be on Classroom with us right now. Again, I'm doing this with you guys. If you want to play games on your computer and not get this assignment done, by all means you can do that. I think that's a very poor choice. It'll hurt your grade and hurt your progress in this class. So please follow along as we go through this. I'm helping you guys out with this one. There's two parts. We're making two different models, but we're going to use some of these sketch constraints that we learned about in the homework, and we're going to use them to make the 3D shape, the model that we want. So I'm going to go here first. This is what I always do. I always go to Classroom and see what the heck are we doing. What's Mr. H want me to do today? Well, I'm doing these steps in 1.3.4, and what I'm going to end up submitting is two screenshots. The model from the first part and the model from the second part. So you know what I'm expecting of you right now. The two different models, what your finished product for each, just take a screenshot, add that to Google Classroom, submit that. That's all I'm looking for. Well, then what you need to do, I said it was 1.3.4. Well, I'm referring to my PLTW. So I'm going to look for, hey, here's 1.3.4. Here's the full-blown instructions. I told you to do 1 through 13. So guess what you're going to do? 1 through 13. I've been shocked at how difficult some of you guys have struggled with, like, what do I do, what do I do? When I've told you what to do, you just, like, didn't bother to read. the instructions. So again, I want to remind you, I make it as straightforward as I possibly can for what you need to do. This one, we're doing, again, we're basically applying all these 3D modeling skills that we've done. And we're going to start with the sketch skills, right? So all this stuff is saying is basically make a new part, right? These specific instructions are for Fusion 360. That's the software that we should have had. Our computers can't run it, so I had to pick a different software that you guys have access to. That's Onshape. Samuel, are you with us? Don't you have it plugged in right now? It should have power if it's plugged in. There it goes. All right. So what I did, I went to Onshape. I made a new document. I called it 1.3.4. Again, especially when we do our first big project, you guys will definitely need to keep track of your files, right? If you have multiple parts you're making for a project, make a folder. Like project 1.4.1, whatever. Keep stuff organized so you don't end up shooting yourself in the foot. So I'm making a blank file. And then I'm literally step by step. That looks right. First thing it's asking me to do is I'm going to make a sketch of a 4x6 rectangle. Right? I'm going to choose, again, it doesn't matter where you draw your sketch. I'm going to say I'm going to draw my sketch on the front plane. When you click on your view cube over here, it will show the orientation that you tell it to. I clicked front face. I want to look at the front face because that's where I'm sketching. This is the best view for when you make a sketch. You want to look directly at the face. Again, instructions. You guys should have these pulled up too, right? I'm helping you go through it, but you want to have access to these too. A 4x6 rectangle. You guys might know there's two types of rectangles you can make. One where you pick two corners and it'll make that rectangle. The other one is you place the center of your rectangle and then place the other corner. It's really good habit to think through, man, I really want my part to be centered on the origin, this very middle part. I want to do a center point rectangle. It asks me, again, if I hover over here, it'll tell me what to do. Click to indicate the starting center point, click to indicate the end corner point. I want my center to be right here, and then I really don't care what I draw because I'm going to dimension it myself. Now right here, 4 inches vertically, 6 inches horizontally. So this dimension down here, I can just start typing and I say, I want this to be 6 inches. I want the vertical distance to be 4. Bam, done. Then I move on. Now I need to add these polygons. Does anybody know what these dashed lines are?
Construction lines?
Yeah, they're construction lines. A construction line is a line that doesn't affect the actual sketch itself. I can't extrude a shape from a construction line. It's basically like a ghost line. All I use them for is to place my other sketch points. There's 2 ways that you can do that. This button right here will switch your drawing to be construction lines, these ghost lines. And I can say I want to draw a line from corner to corner. Do you see how it's dashed? That tells you it's a construction line. It won't actually impact the shape that you're drawing. Then I want to draw another one, corner to corner. Now say you didn't turn this on. Say you just drew a line. And you're like, ah, crap. I don't want an actual line, I want a construction line. Well, it's an easy fix. Literally just select that line and switch it to be a construction line. Right? The reason that we make those construction lines, as you see here, we're going to place some of these shapes on those lines. We want it to be on the diagonal. So I'm going to throw my construction line in there.
How? Exactly.
I just explained that.
No, like,
How to make the line?
I'm very, yes.
I just explained you could either draw a line
That's what I was
from corner to corner, but you're like, oh crap, I don't want an actual line, so I'm going to select it and change it to construction.
Oh, see, now that makes sense.
The other thing you can do is you can say, hey, everything I'm drawing right now, right, my construction line tool is activated. Everything I'm doing is a construction line. Bam. So I want these two diagonal lines. You can always hit escape to deactivate all your tools. Now it's saying I need to add these 3 different polygons in my sketch rectangle. The first one is a circumscribed pentagon. We actually have a polygon tool. It told us circumscribed, which means our shape is around the circle. This point I'm going to put on like my construction line in the top left somewhere. So I'm going to place the point, draw my hexagon. Nope, I did it wrong. Do you see what I did wrong? I was drawing a pentagon, or a hexagon, excuse me. It told me to do a pentagon. Well, in Onshape, you can make the polygon, and the last thing it asks you is how many sides do you want? Well, pentagon is 5, so I'm going to hit 5 sides, and then I can place it. Right?
Wait, where are you?
I need you guys to keep up with me. I don't want to have to go back and do everything twice. Polygon, right?
Yep.
I want the circumscribed.
Right.
I'm going to place it on my construction line.
Right.
Then I'm going to say, how big do I want it? Doesn't matter. We're going to dimension it later.
Right.
And then it's saying, hey, do you want 25 sides, 35 sides?
Got it.
Do you want 3? Well, no, I want 5. Bam. Now, the radius needs to be 0.35.
How's your computer doing it so fast? Just use big advanced
3.5 or
stars.
0.35?
I don't know. And I'm going to, remember my dimension tool? One of the most useful tools you'll have. It lets you set the dimension of something you drew. Well, what do I need it to be? 0.35. Little guy. Oh, I made another mistake. Do you see my mistake? I made it the wrong size. This was a radius of 0.35. I was looking at it and I was thinking, mine doesn't really look like that. Mine looks way smaller. I set the diameter to 0.35. I need this to be times 2.
How do you make it so you can change the size?
You use the dimension tool. I'm going to activate my dimension tool so it's blue, and I'm going to select the circle. I want to dimension my circle, and then you place your point. Does that make it a little easier to see?
Mine, it just made it smaller again.
It shouldn't have made it smaller.
So click the dimension of the circle.
Yeah, you want to dimension the circle.
Why is my circle on the outside? I mean on the inside. Yours on the outside.
It's if you did inscribed or circumscribed.
I have no idea.
For this, it doesn't matter a ton. Just know in the future, those are two different things, and you might have to make it one or the other. For right now, it's not a huge deal.
Can you put equations into the?
Yeah, well.
That was sketching.
You're out of the sketch.
Oh yeah, I was in the sketch. So it said cannot dimension between these height
Dimension.
it just said
Yeah.
dimension between these.
All right, so that's that first step. We did this. Now it's saying, hey, make a hexagon with 0.25. So I'm going to make, and again, I wanted to put in the top right corner on that construction line. So I'm going to place the center of my hexagon, give the approximate size, it doesn't really matter. And I want a hexagon that's 6 sides, so boom. What should my diameter be?
Not 0.25.
Correct.
So
What is the radius of a circle? Isn't that half of the diameter?
Yeah.
And my diameter needs to be twice that.
0.5.
Yep. So I'm going to dimension. Activate my dimension tool. I want to dimension the circle. And I want it to be 0.5. Bam. We made the shape that we want, and then we dimensioned it to be exactly how big we want it. The third polygon is a triangle that we want to put in the bottom right. This one just random. It's not even on the construction line. We want the side lengths 1.25.
So we're not putting this one on the construction line?
No, this one doesn't have it located. So this one, again, a triangle is still a polygon. So I'm going to just put it somewhere down here. But I want to go down to 3 sides. What I'm wanting to do is it said it wants a side length of 1.25. See that? So I'm going to dimension the side length, not the circle, to be one. Oh, hello. Again, we haven't located this yet, so I can drag it. All right? I haven't told Onshape, like, hey, put this triangle exactly here. It's just floating on my sketch plane. Yeah. When a sketch entity, if this turns all black, that means I've completely constrained that object. I've told it exactly how big it is and exactly where it should be. You want things to be completely constrained, right? You're the engineer, you're the designer. You know exactly what it should be. All right? So that's all that is. Now, this is where we get our constraints, right? What we just practiced. So now, what we're going to do, we made a constraint that we don't want, right? I drew this polygon on that line. I don't want it there. So I'm going to click on this constraint and delete it. Over here, I guess I can do it for this one too.
How are you doing this?
I'm hovering, right?
Yeah, but I'm like watching you do it and I don't get it.
Right here, this tells me, hey, the center of this point is on that line. Well, I don't want that.
Okay.
So I click that and I hit escape. Or
When I
delete.
click it, nothing happens. Now I'm just like, now I don't even know what to do.
You're dimensioning right now. That's why. click here. There. So again, you need to you need to have everything turned off, right? Just hit escape. I get into a habit where if I finish doing something, I hit escape like 3 times. It's my way of making sure, like, hey, I'm in, normal mode.
What if it doesn't let me move it off?
The first thing, what?
So I can just move it anywhere that's on the line?
You don't want it on the line right now.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to put constraints on it to put it in a very specific location.
We don't want any of them on the line. Is that what I mean?
Not yet. One of them might be it.
Okay.
But to start, the pentagon is on a vertical line through the center of the rectangle.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. I kind of want to make another construction line. So I'm going to draw a line right here. Again, we've explained this twice now.
Just loaded like 2 seconds ago.
Construction line, I just drew a line. I literally drew a basic line, and I selected it and I converted it into a construction line. This isn't part of my shape, this is just a line that I want to use. And then it told me the center of the pentagon is on the vertical line. Do you remember what sketch constraint makes things on top of each other? Right here, I have a bunch of sketch tools. Which one of these makes 2 things on top of each other?
Coincident.
Coincident. Good. You guys should have done this. Coincident constrains 2 or more entities to share that location.
Okay, so it's still not letting me take that other one off the line. Try.
I'm sitting here doing a little line over the line.
Click on this.
Right? There.
How do you do it?
Again, you gotta click the point.
Okay.
Click it, it'll turn gold. And then that guy, that little P, click that and delete that. There's delete. Now try to move the center point off. Like click and drag. There you go. Alright.
Now it says produce the rendering performance detector.
We want the center of that pentagon on the vertical line. I want to use coincident. I activate my coincident constraint, and I'm going to say, hey, I want this to be on, well, I already clicked the line. Yeah, coincident. I want this and this to be in the same place. That's exactly what this tells me to do. Center of the pentagon is on a vertical line through the center of the rectangle. I just made a line through the center of the rectangle and then put my pentagon on that line. It's in your instructions. So then my next thing, one side of my pentagon should be horizontal. What sketch constraint could make something horizontal? Horizontal. Shocker. I'm going to turn on my horizontal constraint, and I want to click this one side. That's all it said. One side of the pentagon is horizontal. So just tell Onshape, hey, make this side of my pentagon horizontal. So we did that, and it should be 1/2 inch above the center of the rectangle. Well, that's just a dimension. I want to dimension that to here to be 0.5. Whoa.
Why?
that just made that huge.
Yeah, I picked the wrong side.
Are you kidding? I'm gonna go down and look at my sign in login. Surprisingly.
What?
I didn't give my phone out. Sign me out.
It should send to your email.
Huh?
It should send to your email.
Oh, it's just send me an
You're logged out?
email. I tried to log in instead of my email password.
Fine. Hurry up.
I swear, my computer's not let me see this. I swear.
Alright, so this was the next thing I did.
What side did you use to do that?
So you can use a couple sides, right? They made this side horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I made the top side horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, I want to make basically my nearest point
Okay.
half an inch. So what I did is I dimensioned from the center of my rectangle to that point is half an inch. Right? This isn't an exact science. It's just,
My whole shape went away.
I don't know what you did.
It just makes my shape huge.
Are you dimensioning from here to here?
I'm dimensioning my closest point to it. And it just makes it huge.
Ugh, I don't.
know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing you want. Then you want you also didn't you gotta make those. You want this center right on.
I'm also confused.
What?
I'm also confused on this shape. I've been stuck on this.
So you need to place that dimension. Just
Drag it.
here. Doing multiple dimensions. That should be
Is it 0.25 or 0.5?
0.5.
So I do that and it says sketching up and solve.
All right. So we've done this. One side of the pentagon's horizontal and half an inch above the center. Right? We just dimensioned that. Now one side of the hexagon is parallel with our 6-inch side of the rectangle. Well, where's my 6-inch side? It's right here. What constraint tool do you think I should use to make something parallel? How about parallel? So I'm going to take one of these and say this and this should be parallel. And it'll do exactly that. That means no matter where I move this, that line that I selected will always stay parallel with this line.
The bottom of the right line.
Either one, you got to read the instructions, and it says the 6-inch side of your rectangle. So we have that constraint. Now, the center of my hexagon is coincident with the diagonal. Well, some of you might have done that already. Coincident, I want the center of my hexagon and the diagonal to be coincident. See that? No matter where I move this, that center has to be on the diagonal, and that side is always parallel. What are you doing? You're out of your schedule. You want to eventually go. Yeah. Okay.
So the last place we left off, where we made the parallel,
The last what?
what was the last thing we just did together?
I have helped too many people. I don't remember which one we were on.
We were doing the hexagon.
We did the hexagon parallel with the 6-inch side.
Right. That's where we left off.
The center of the hexagon coincident with the diagonal, we did that too, right? I want my coincident, and I want to say the center point and my diagonal are coincident. Now we need the center of the hexagon 1/2 inch below the top of the rectangle. Well, that's a dimension, right? I want the center to be 1/2 inch below the top. Do you see how it turned black? Right? What I did is I turned on the dimension tool. The center to the top, 1/2 inch. It turned black to tell me, hey, this shape is completely defined.
You can't consider this anymore?
Correct. Do you see how I can't drag it? I can't move it. its position is fixed. It can't move positions. I also can't make it any bigger. It won't let me. That means I've completely defined it. It's stuck there. That's exactly where I want it. Does that make sense? That was this step. Now it's moving on to the triangle. Do you guys know what a vertex of a triangle is? This is a vertex. It's just the corner of a triangle. It's asking us, hey, one of your vertex needs to be coincident with a corner of the rectangle. Well, that means I'm going to turn on my coincident constraint, and I'm going to say I want this point, my vertex, to be coincident with the corner of my triangle. Oops, I didn't click it. Bam. It will make those 2 points to be exactly in the same spot.
Can you do that one more time for me? I was trying to
Coincident.
got that.
And it says, hey, what do you want to make coincident? Well, I want this point and this point to be in the same spot.
Oh,
And it should move your triangle right down there. Then, the center point of my triangle should be on the diagonal. Well, I got another coincident. I want the center of my triangle to be on my diagonal. Bam. See, it turned black.
wait.
I'm confirmed, like, hey, this is exactly where it needs to be. It cannot change.
I just.
Wyatt, wake up. Stay with us. I'm helping you do your assignment.
Help me a little bit.
What do you need?
Where am I moving? It's like I already moved it in the corner.
Yep, the last step. If you just read center point of triangle, coincident with diagonal.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Coincident,
Okay.
center triangle,
Yeah.
diagonal. It'll do it for you.
Oh, see, I was trying to. How do I make that?
Yeah. All right. It should look like this.
Wait, why is it, is the side of the length of the triangle supposed to be 1 inch or 1.25 inch?
Well, let's check our instructions.
Because one instruction says 1.25.
The instructions say a side length of 1.25. So I made the side length of my triangle 1.25. You got that?
How do I easily change?
How do I change that? Okay, the dimension button is not working.
How do you redimension something without?
Double click the dimension you want to change.
Oh.
It said it cannot be dimensioned by.
Click that circle. No, you don't want to dimension the side line.
I feel like more. I think people were more successful when you didn't say anything at all.
Circle.
People were like, oh, I have to actually do this for myself.
No, what you want it to be.
Oh, I can just run my hand.
Check your instructions. Be careful. You're entering a diameter. That's a radius. Yep. Yeah, so this was the last step we just did. We needed to take the center.
That's not.
The other coincident constraint you're missing was the corner of a triangle coincident with the corner of a rectangle. That's what you're missing. Now you see how it turned black? That's confirmed by hey, the size and location is defined. So you know you dimensioned it fully.
I don't know how to bring my circle up.
What circle?
Not circle, but the. This shit right here. I'm trying to bring that up a little bit. I got this one. Keep saying.
Oh, you keep leaving sketches. You should have done it all at once. You're just cluttering it up, right? If you want to sketch this, you have to figure out, hey, where did I sketch this? That's the only thing. What one are you talking about?
This one right here, isn't this supposed to be like
Yeah, so this is the problem. Is you gotta find, okay, this sketch was here. What you have is this.
I just gonna get it like right there. But I'm saying like it has to be part of your sketch. Oh, we use horizontal. Oh, that's using.
Wait, so how did you get that to?
And you want to add a construction line.
Oh, the one that goes up and straight up and down.
Yeah. Which one? Make it construction. Then you can take coincident. You want this to be on this thing.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get.
And then you dimension here, here, and there you go. All right, you guys. So now we're going to use another tool. All right, we've gotten through that. Now we're going to do something called sketch patterns. You literally make a pattern of something that you just sketched. You're going to take this sketch and you're going to make a circular pattern. I want to take exactly what I did and I want to copy it in a circle. Yeah, it's really cool. This can save you a ton of time.
Doesn't do it by itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
If you did this by hand, you'd have to draw this circle,
Yeah, I thought
draw another
I thought this might be-
polygon the same size, orient it the right way, and then do it 5 more times, or 4 more, 3 more, whatever. There's a tool called a pattern tool that will make patterns for you.
Linear pattern?
Or circular. We need to do both. Create these patterns.
So we.
It's asking us to estimate. So we need to figure out how to do this. Well,
I found the tool.
yeah, did you find it?
Yeah. All the way there at the end of the 4 squares right there.
Yeah, you see this guy? There's a drop-down menu. We want to do a linear pattern first. Now it's asking us,
Is there an easier way to do that?
right? We want to pattern that shape, right? All those line segments. We want to put them to the left. I'm going to put them to the left. And I'm going to estimate my spacing, right? It doesn't tell us what we need to be. So I'm going to ballpark it. Right? You see this arrow? I'm going to pull it straight to the left. Whoops. Come on, you stinker. Nope. Keep clicking the wrong thing. That's my, when you click OK, it'll finish your pattern. Everybody get that? Want me to do it one more time? I want a linear pattern.
I guess put the,
And I got to select my polygon. Dang it. I clicked the wrong thing again. I don't want to pattern it that way. I want to pattern it this way.
You chose linear.
And then if I click somewhere else, it'll confirm what I just did. All right, it made these, it duplicated. Now, what I want to do,
So I click on Regulate.
I don't know what click on that
The
is.
hexagon. I click on the hexagon.
Do you highlight all of them?
Let me highlight.
You got to select all the segments, and then it will show the pattern. Well, you want to take the arrow and flip it the other way. Need help?
Am I supposed to have one?
Okay. See that?
How do I get it to where I can do that? Where's that? I don't even see that.
like when you put Command Z, I just want to undo the most recent, not like confirmed edit. but-
One thing you can do is you can click and drag. See how I have all those 3 that are golden? I want to do a linear pattern of
This
those.
is as far as I got. I have it selected. Then what? I literally click the polygon and highlight it. Am I supposed to be out of section?
I want to select these shapes, and I want to pattern those. Well, I want them down.
How do you click all through them? You just click every side of all of them? That would be the way. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Let's put the
This, I only want 2 of them. So I can change it to say, hey, I only want 2.
How do I do that? How do I change it to only 2?
Let me show you.
Like, I know how to,
Why did it get bigger?
like, I'm got it for the 3 of them. I just need to set it up for 3 too.
It's not even like showing.
Hang it.
multiple of them. I got the arrow flipped to the left side, but the other shapes are not showing.
So the first pattern that I did,
What
Yeah.
happened?
I got to redo it. Right? I can select. Whoops. I want a pattern.
How do you make it go down and not to the side?
Just drag that arrow and move it. Right? It's going the wrong direction. Well, I'm going to tell it go this way.
It's not really letting me do that.
Right here, do you see how it has 3 times?
Yeah.
I want 3 for this one. So I'm going to click off and say, yep, that's where I want it. Well, then I'm going to select all those. And I'm going to pattern
Got it.
the other way. Right? I want this to go down.
I did it.
You see my 3 times?
Yeah.
I want to double click, so I say, I don't want 3 of them, I want just 2. And it says, see this green check mark? I can confirm, yep, that's what I want. That'll make my pattern. Now you can do the same thing, right? You can select this shape, and I want to do a circular pattern.
Hold up.
Circular pattern is saying,
Right, you're going too fast. You're going too fast.
I'm already behind. We're not even halfway through. I want the entities.
Click off on them and then it won't let me back. It's only free.
These are the entities that I want to make a circular pattern of. Right? Here it's telling me, hey, how many do you want to make? I want to make 5. I want 5 of those shapes. It'll default to a full circle. That's what I want. Bam.
I did.
You want a specific, like, amount, how far out thing?
Nope, it's just, this is approximating it.
Wait, my shapes are like rotate around the circle. Like they're all around it, but they're not rotated with the other thing.
Yeah, that's what mine is. That's fine. We don't worry about that yet. So that's my circular pattern, and now I got to do another linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my triangle. I want to pattern these entities.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's messing me up. I want to pattern this. I want them to look like this. How many do I want? I want 7 times. Ah. Nope, that's not what I want. I want to take this, I want to move it this way.
How did it get 2
There's 7 of them. I want them really tight together.
How many?
7. Well, it took away my circular. I got to add that back in. There. Those are all the pattern shapes that I want to get. Does that make sense? Again, this is getting a little complicated. This is why it's important to have done the previous assignments, right? The homework has sketch constraints. You know what the heck those even are. Now we're doing a pattern tool.
How did you do the 5-star?
That was that circular pattern. So you gotta use the circular pattern tool.
I don't know, man, it's like, I don't know, this.
Oh, that's the linear.
Listen, I don't need those. I'm gonna get rid of the circle because
Mine are blue as well.
But it's dimension.
These are awesome.
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Zoom in. With the one, you're not doing anything. You want to activate the tool. No. That's not a tool. Activate your linear. Yep. Then select. You gotta wait till it turns gold to confirm that hey, is that actually what you want. Then take that little square, flip it. You're gonna move it to the other side. And you can control your spacing.
I've done this, but I
And then, yep, leave it at a certain spacing. Just put it where you want. You want it straight over, so put it at an angle. Just leave it. Then take this, right? Wait. Yeah, 2. Then pull that down below. You want 2 rows. There you go. Then leave it. Let go. Now if you go over here, see how it's got a green arrow? If you click, you're confirming what you just did and it'll place it. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to close that sketch. Now we're going to extrude.
How did you put that? Bruh.
So now we're going to go and we're going to say, hey, I want to extrude
How did you do the star then?
this shape. Well, that's not exactly what I want. I want to fill these in. So I can go in and I can say, hey, I want all these shapes.
Oh, that is not what I wanted to do.
I want to extrude these guys,
All of them?
right? I want that to be a part of my extrusion. So I literally select all those little pieces.
So it keeps extruding my shapes when I need the squares.
You want to select this interior space. Don't click on your shapes, click on the interior.
Because that's
Now my
And then I want all these.
you can circle that.
Yeah. There's 2 types of patterns. Whoops. Just like that.
Well, mine says
I select what I want to extrude. I'm going to extrude it at 1/2 inch. It doesn't matter.
Mine,
Bam.
Whenever I click the outer rim, it just keeps popping up my shapes. Like, see, I click my sketch and now
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
Extrude.
What?
Too many of them. Too many of them. I can't even see it anymore.
You deleted this line. There's no shape down there. Sorry.
How did I do that? I don't even know how I did that.
Yeah, that's why. Now when you extrude,
Do I have too many of these?
Oh, see, I didn't even know I did that.
then you need to fill in.
Yeah.
You need to click and you say, hey, I want to extrude. Here's more soup. And I want these things filled in. select the things that you want to extrude.
Trying to get 5 Pentagon.
No, I got it back.
Oh yeah, that's where,
I got one done.
see, right here, this 3. You want to tell, I don't want 3, I want
Every time I
5.
click OK, it deletes.
You're selecting the wrong thing.
Like what? Like.
You want circular pattern. You want to select.
See, look at this. See this?
See, that's how I try to do this. Like,
Deletes it every
Those
time.
5.
Thanks, buddy.
I would hate not having a free game.
5.
There. And then see this green? It's like, hey, do you want to do that? Yes, I do.
You got it automatically.
You got it? So then,
When I do the same thing with the triangle.
Okay, so
yes. Yeah, it's a linear pattern. Alright?
how comes every time I try to extrude it deletes everything?
Yeah, why won't it extrude?
It should. You select what you want to extrude and hit OK.
I did that
Yeah, like it's
and
like,
it deletes everything.
It like brings up like a surface.
It shouldn't.
right? But it doesn't have it filled in beneath it.
How do I just click on the thing?
Yeah, like yours is filled in, like it's solid, mine's sort of like that, except it's just not solid, it's like 2 planes, you know? Here, I'll just show you. This is what mine looks like. It's red.
He just wants the exterior.
Oh.
There. What is your mouse?
Can you not mess with my mouse? Why is it doing that? My mouse is turned on over there.
So you need to select these.
Well, the mouse just flew all over the screen.
Right? So you want to add all these pieces.
Yeah, I did that. But like, what? Like, you see how the extrude is red? That means it's not gonna work. You just have to hit the check mark.
Yeah, you have to tell it, hey, I'm done extruding,
Oh.
execute what I just did.
How do I get the circle off my triangle? There's like a circle at the top end.
I think it's supposed to be there. It's part of it.
The mouse flew all over the screen.
Okay, so guys, the next thing, I'm going to cut this assignment in half, right? This went not as great as I thought it would. What I'm going to have you guys do is you make another sketch on your top surface again, and you use this tool called Offset. Where did they hide it?
I swear they'd be hiding things.
Offset. You want an offset tool,
No way.
and you want to offset
How is that even possible?
this. It'll take the sketch that you just made and it's going to make a new sketch, but it basically is going to blow it up or shrink it, right? But I want the offset to be 0.1. And then I want to do something called a fillet. It's a sketch fillet. I want to fillet this corner. What do I want fillet radius to be? 0.2. It'll round it out. So then you just need to do that on the bottom here. Right? Offset this guy, same process,
Finally did everything. Figures.
by 0.2. I want to add these fillets at all my corners. I don't want them to be sharp edges. I want them to be round. Oops. I mistyped my, oops. Still typing my numbers wrong. Then I got one more. Offset this guy. Whoops. Point 1, and then my sketch fillets. I want to take every vertex, and I want to add a sketch fillet of 0.2, just like it told me to. And then I'm going to extrude that. I made a new sketch, and I want to say, hey, I want these shapes, right? This little like ring. I want to extrude those some arbitrary distance. I'm going to extrude them 1 inch is fine. I'm going to make that. Alright? What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this assignment, and we only got through half of it. I didn't think it would be this difficult for you guys. So I'm going to just cut it in half. We'll do the other one next class. So I'll update the assignment to just submit a screenshot of this part that we just made. This guy right here. I would want a screenshot of this. And remember how we do screenshots. Here, print. Whatever is in my box is what it's going to print. So I'm going to zoom it and make sure it's as big as I can. Literally just download an image.
Exactly like that?
It should look very similar because we're all doing the same steps. Doesn't have to be precisely.
20 steps behind. I couldn't even, I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay, again, the instructions are there. I can come around and help the last couple minutes. But this file is what I need you to upload. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this. It's due at midnight, so you guys have some time. There. Alright, so I'm going to